bureaucracy isn't the government, yeah. Fucking with me, this shit is suicide for our families. As if the rich fucks nominated you and me.
I'm the original singer. I started it all.
Right.
And I started back in '88.
Yeah, I saw
We've been
that.
around for 35 years. It'll be 36 this year.
Dude.
36 years.
Sick.
I've been around longer than a lot of bands that are big and been there and done it. And I played with those bands before they were big and where they're at now.
Yeah, I hear you.
We'll get to that if you want to say
Man,
that.
that's a loaded. Yeah, that's,
I got a lot of shit for you.
yeah, we got a lot to unpack here. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, so anyways, this is Cat's Pajamas, aka Cat's PJs, aka Cat's Pajamas Steve's, and you're watching the Canceled Cat Show, and I have a very special guest, super rad, supercalifragilistic and expialidocious. He's
Despicable.
Shiloh. From the Despicables, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Shiloh.
Is that who we're looking at right there?
That's what we're looking at. Camera number one. But yeah, man, thanks for being here. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks
man.
for having me, or us, I should say, even though they're not here with me, but that's
cool.
okay.
Well, let's get into that real quick, because I've been in a band. I've been in multiple bands, and it could be very discouraging, I'd say, because you lose so many members throughout the times. I'm sure you've been through a million basses, guitarists, drummers.
I mean, we'd fill up this room and then some if they were all to show up.
Yeah.
I still talk to the original members too.
Oh, no kidding?
We're still friends.
Well, that's cool. Yeah. So, like, at any point, did that discourage you? Did you ever want to quit? Was there like a hiatus because it's like, it's not worth it, no one's sticking around?
You know, there were periods in time where there were breaks because I left the city at times. You know, like back in '96, I left for a couple of years, and then after that, even like in '03 or '02, I think I left to Pennsylvania for a little bit too. Yeah. So there were breaks here and there, not very long. But, you know, and I'd come back home and jump right back into it. And the guys that I grew up with, you know, old school punks that followed Despicables, you know, would find out I was back in town, and I'd be like, well, you know, I'm going to, you know, they'd be like, are you going to do Despicables again? Of course.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
hey, well, I play guitar or I play
Dude,
bass.
Sick. Yeah.
You know what I mean? There was always someone interested in getting in that seat and riding in that ride with me. So
that is sick.
That's why we still exist to this day.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun involved. I try to keep it that way.
Yeah, rightfully so, man. Hell yeah, I can relate to that, man. Always trying to keep it fun. Dude, so, all right, well, that's cool. That was a personal question. I want to know, because I got discouraged a few times, and I recall one time even, dude, my drummer quit the date of this show. We were opening... We're going to open for Voodoo Glow Skulls. It's a super cool fucking band, right? And I'm like, fuck,
I've opened
dude.
for them before.
Of course, yeah. I'm sure you've opened
couple
for
of times.
yeah.
You know, I opened for them at DMZ.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, and then I opened for them later on with Left Alone and them at White Rabbit when it was still
Yeah.
White Rabbit, I think, or somewhere down in there, because it's
that
venue's changed so many names. It was one of those.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was White Rabbit. Yeah.
White Rabbit off of St. Mary's Strip.
Right there where Paper Tiger is now.
Yeah,
same thing,
the
same
Paper
building.
Tiger. Same thing.
Same shit.
Yeah, man. But yeah, man, I remember he quit on me, and I was a singer, and I was playing trumpet, and I had to play the drums for it.
Oh, did you?
I did. I ended up hopping on the drums.
That's pretty cool.
Stopping, picking up the trumpet.
See, I wouldn't have been able to do that. It would have just been like, well, I guess we're going to go acoustic now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it was gnarly, man.
That part's never happened.
Yeah, man.
It's always either a guitarist or a bassist or something like that, but then it still gets handled. Someone steps in.
Dude, that's awesome.
I had a show for my birthday bash I was given the opportunity to open for Agnostic Front.
Sick.
And I lost a guitarist for that. And so I had to replace him with the guitarist, and that guitarist wound up learning everything in 3 days.
Shit.
Came in and killed it and did the show.
Yeah.
And we were able to do the bash. And,
dude, hell yeah.
And he stayed with me he was like one of the last guitarists that was with me for a long time.
Yeah.
He was actually on the recent recordings that are out there.
Dang, that's badass.
Yeah.
That's
I
cool,
won't say his name because I don't know if that's okay or not.
I don't know. You could say that.
I could, and yeah.
All right.
I won't say it.
Shout out to what's his face.
There you go. That guy.
Yeah, but
He knows who he is.
He knows. So 1988, it was established. So I want to know, man, what was your first, if you remember, what was that very first introduction to punk rock? Like, what was when you knew, like, oh, fuck, this is it, this is what I'm into?
Well, this will be interesting for you, is before Despicables, my first band when I was 15 was Troubled Social Order.
Okay.
And the interesting and the cool part about that band was, and I don't know if I'm knocking that over, the guys in that band, and at that time and era, we had a Nazi skinhead problem that was real bad.
Yeah, yeah.
So me being, a Native American, Mexican singer, my band was all black. I had 3 black guys in the band. Shit. So we weren't bad brains or anything like that, but we kind of were for Texas.
Right.
And at that time. But anyway, Troubled Social Order was my first band.
Yeah.
And what happened there was, when I was going to shows, a lot of bands stopped doing the melodic parts that I enjoyed in bands. Where I'll explain to you where my influences come from.
Yeah.
And I've always believed in strong singers in punk rock bands, because not only can you understand what's being said, it means more, I think, and the harmonies and the melodies and just the beauty of it and the passion. So I stayed with that. And when I was approached with Troubled Social Order, that's what they wanted, that style. And that guitarist was like, dude, you can sing. He goes, I want you to write with me on this album I'm working on for this project I'm doing, which was Troubled Social Order. And that's how I came to performing and doing shows at Club Oasis back in the day, which
Club
is no longer.
Oasis.
And that's L&M Bookstore, by the way, on Main.
Yeah.
That used to be Club Oasis. It had a swimming pool in the back of it.
Yeah.
Where they would skate back there.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Dude,
so that's where I started out, doing my first shows.
Yeah.
And Lance, the original guitarist for Despicables, who's also the singer for Fixations, is the original Despicables. The bass player is Denny Gray, and Eric Schufert, who was our drummer, who came from Troubled Social Order.
Yeah.
That was the original lineup for Despicables. But anyways, so what happened there was I started to create and think about what my next project was going to be once Troubled Social Order ended. But I wanted to continue doing the melodic style of punk rock and the singing, because I could. And a lot of the other bands were jumping ship and turning into hardcore bands.
Right.
Hardcore was big then. So that was the end thing. So while everyone else went off to go do hardcore, we still stayed doing the original style of punk rock, with the melodies and the harmonies and that style of punk. Which is like old school Misfits, Social Distortion, Generation X, Sex Pistols, Bad Religion, that style and type of
for sure.
rock.
Yeah.
So,
I remember the wave. I remember just being into punk rock, and then someone being like, oh man, I like crust punk, and then there was hardcore punk, ska punk, and they started to just
turn into all kinds of genres.
All kinds of shit. Yeah. Which was cool too, but it was interesting.
It gives you a variety.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. It just wasn't for me. I mean, the style, like I said, the style that I do is, I still stay true to the 80s sound.
Yeah.
And when we write, we still write that way. So when we write, you get the different genres that you pick up from the style of punk that we do, is you find like new wave and goth and old school punk, melodic punk involved with what we do. So that's why the sound we have is a little different from what you hear nowadays and stuff coming out of wherever or whatever.
Yeah,
but we're true to the 80s punk rock sound, and we stayed that way.
What would you say, like, if someone out there wants to listen to an example of what you're saying, what song what would be the go-to song for you to show them your style of music?
Well, I have a lot of music out there. So Bandcamp is one that has everything on it.
Yeah.
Everything from the 90s up to,
I saw it.
Early 90s.
I was listening to it.
I have like demo tapes on there.
That's what I was going to say.
Where I have like voice that I don't have anymore. But like it feels like they're squishing my balls and I'm singing that one. Yeah, I sound like a little kid.
Dude, it sounds great, dude. It was very nostalgic. I was listening to it on Spotify on my phone, but it felt like I felt like I was back at home in my bedroom, listening to cassette tapes. I was like, fuck, this is so cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
So it gave I like how it sounds. I love that.
Well, thank you.
I feel a lot of bands are going back to it nowadays too, actually. A lot of bands are recording on cassette tapes just to get that sound back.
So we revamped that cassette. One of my guitarists that lives out in Dallas happened to have the original copy.
Oh,
So
shit.
check this out. When that tape got released at Hog Wild, Ruben Luna, who used to be a DJ at Kiss YM, it looked like one of the like Ringo Starr from the Beatles. Anyway, if he gets pissed off for me saying that, you look like Ringo, Ruben. Anyway,
Ringo Ruben, that's what they call him now.
That's who he is.
Yeah.
So when we dropped that cassette off, we were pretty out there as far as like the scene, and people wanting to go see shows. Despicables was pretty popular at that time.
Yeah.
And that cassette got dropped off at Hog Wild, and Ruben was like, I would drop off 10 cassettes at a time.
Yeah.
And the first time I took it, as soon as I left, he was already calling my house to my mom's and was like, hey, can you tell Charlotte to bring back 10 copies real quick? Because we already sold out.
Dang.
And I was like, and so when I get home, my mom's like, hey, that guy Ruben called.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, what'd he say? He needs more cassettes. I was like, I just dropped 10 off. She goes, he needs more. Those are gone. They sold them already. I'm like, what?
Wow.
So I made 10 more cassettes, ran them back to him, and I didn't even have time to make more.
Yeah.
But when I dropped those off, I was like, hey, man, you know what? How are these cassettes doing? He goes, you need to make more because these 10 you just brought, they just sold too.
Wow.
So go ahead and run some more copies if you can.
Yeah.
And that's where we were. That he wound up telling me that we were the fastest local band to sell demo cassettes that fast.
Yeah. Well, let's get into some music. This is the Despicables, and we'll get right back to the interview. Ciao.
Awesome.
Well, there he is, my son-in-law, the 150-year-old teenage punk.
He's a blunt, but monster you don't want to approach.
Drag Strip Riot.
Drag Strip Riot. That's right. That's one of my favorite songs. Pinchy Punks, of course. That one's, that's
the intro.
That's
the introduction of who we are.
Yeah. That is cool, man. Pinchy
So
Punks.
Drag Strip Riot is based off of Hot Rod Herman.
Yeah,
it's that episode.
Yeah. I heard you hear. I love it, man. I grew up on the Munsters and love the Munsters, man.
Dude, I was watching a lot of Munsters during the pandemic, and we were working on that album.
Oh, no
that
shit.
song. And the guitarist sent the music to me.
Yeah.
And I had my little boy was born during the pandemic, so he was in my arms. And he sent that music to me, and I called him and I said, hey, I got something for that song you just sent. I go, I'll send it right to you here in a little bit. Give me a second.
Yeah.
So I put him down, put him to sleep. I got on there. I listened to the song. I went back. I played the song. And then I played the sound recorder app that I found on the phone that I would sing into, and it would record the music in the background. Nice. So I went back. I clicked the music on the Bluetooth and sang along to it, what I created. And it was Drag Strip Riot.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's how we wrote that. The pandemic taught us how to write it.
Man. Shit, man. So, so I didn't grow up here in San Antonio, really. So I don't really know the punk scene per se.
Okay.
But back home, I know there was the skinheads had to deal with that shit. Surprisingly, this is fucking El Paso.
And,
but there was some, and they would go.
Sharps, I take it.
Yeah, man, it was crazy.
Did you ever have a Nazi problem?
Yeah, for a little while.
Really?
Yeah, it was.
They got
crazy.
balls.
Yeah, they're surrounded. It was like, we gotta number you.
They got balls in this town too.
I feel like they just wanted to have fights and shit. They're out. People, no matter who won, they were just out for chingazos and shit. And
were they Nazis or were they?
No, they were skins, because we also have Fort Bliss. So there's a lot of people military. Mm-hmm. So that
makes sense.
That's how they were. It's like, what are y'all doing from fucking Michigan?
My brother was stationed there in the army.
So they were stationed
there.
Exactly
what you're talking
so
about.
that's how they ended up infiltrating and coming through.
Wow.
So it's like that made more sense, but.
But the Nazi part doesn't make sense, right?
It doesn't, man. But I also knew Mexicans who were Nazis.
Well, you know what? Tell me some more, because I got a story for you too in this town.
I'm telling you, man, they're Mexican Nazis. They had their reasoning, and once they got drunk, you hear the stories, and
it doesn't surprise me.
It was it was very, very interesting, man.
So the Nazis I had to fight against growing up as a teenager, and I was part of the movement of punks that pushed that out of this town.
Yeah.
And it was a battle. It was a serious war, serious fights. People were in the hospital. I'll go as far as that, and there's more stuff, but I won't go that far.
Yeah.
But I know that the leaders of the Nazi crew were a black dude and a Mexican dude that I went to high school with.
That's interesting.
And this dude, when I met him, he was a friend of my cousin when I got to town, because I'm from Lubbock.
Yeah.
And I got to San Antonio in '85. So I was in the punk rock scene back then.
Yeah.
In '85. I was already a punk rocker in Lubbock. That's why I had to leave. The Mohawk and all that shit was too much. So I had to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
But anyway, when I got here, which I call home now, San Antonio, I've been here since I was 15. So it's home to me.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And I always come home.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, when I got here, I met Roger through my cousin, because I wound up going to Edison High School. And, he was like, my cousin was like, he's a skinhead. I'm not too sure about him as far as that skinhead shit goes. He goes, but, he knows me, and I've already told him to make sure he looks out for you. I was like, okay. And because my cousin was like that. And by the way, my cousin is Ram Ayala's son from, Cruz from Taco Land. Ayala. I was thinking of the box.
Yeah, Taco Land,
yeah. Ramiro. And so anyway, he had told me about Roger, and then so when I met Roger, he would always catch the bus after school, and I would watch him leave. And one time I was like, "Hey man, let me cruise with you. Where are you going?"
Yeah.
Because I assumed he was going to hang out with some punks and skins, and partying somewhere. So I wanted to be a part of that.
Yeah, of course.
But, he was always like, "Nah, man, you shouldn't come with me. I don't think it's somewhere you really want to go." I was like, "All right." So I couldn't figure out. I was like, Steve doesn't want me to hang out with him.
Yeah.
Later on, come to find out, there was a reason for that, and it was because he was hanging out with a bunch of Nazi skinheads.
Fucking Nazis, that's crazy.
Yeah.
It's awful. It's terrible. But I'm glad that there's punk rockers out, and a lot of people pushing it out, and going against that. I believe there's power in numbers, and I know we outnumber them.
The best thing about the time now in San Antonio is back in the day when growing up as a kid, the skins and punks didn't get along.
Yeah.
We had to watch our backs with certain skins.
Yeah.
But today is different. Today is different.
Yeah, it definitely
They
is.
finally realized that, like you said, numbers.
Yeah.
And when the skins and punks come together with unity, what does that create? Numbers.
Yeah, for sure.
But also it creates a brotherhood of punks and skins that can have each other's back when the time comes, because you never know.
No,
when
you're
that's
right.
gonna happen again.
Stuff was segregated between, like you said, the punks and skins. I remember that too. And I remember when emo music started to come out, that was a big clash also. I remember it was like 666 2006 that they were going to have an emo bash. And you could look this up. I'll just put it here. I'll put the fucking shit here. An emo bash. It was National Emo Bash where all the punks were gonna like beat the shit out of emo kids, and now it's just
That's shitty.
I know, dude. I felt bad for them.
I mean, you know, if it's not your thing, it's not your thing.
Yeah, I mean, but it was like a big fucking deal. They took that shit to heart, especially in Mexico. They're fucking serious. But now everything seems all meshed. And stuff.
They're starting to open their eyes and realize where they stand.
Nuts, the cagapalos and stuff. So, that's what we call those pinche cagapalos are here to fuck shit up. There's any little thing and they'll set them off, man. But it has been way more chill. The punk scene is. I wanted to give you this for attending and for being a guest, man.
Oh, hell yeah,
a couple
dude.
of magazines, some goodies and
that's
stuff.
That's great,
man.
dude. Thank you.
But yeah, man, that's for you, man.
This looks great, dude. Like,
Thanks,
compared to the way it used to look.
Yeah.
I mean, those were cool too.
Right.
And I think I still have a copy of Scumbag, and I'll give that to you.
Oh shit, hell
just
yeah.
so you can keep it.
No, yeah,
you know
man.
what I
I
mean?
love collecting
I'm pretty
stuff.
sure later on in life somewhere, you're gonna be like, dude, I got this Scumbag that Shiloh gave me, and I'll just be like, I don't have that Scumbag anymore, but I'm glad you do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just something
yeah.
cool to like. I've had it long enough to where I think passing it along to you who's doing this,
appreciate
you know,
that. Yeah, for sure, man.
deserves it for sure.
I'm heavy. I'm heavy into the magazine thing. Razor Cakes is pretty cool. I'm sure you know Razor Cakes.
That's fucking
punk
cool.
magazine and stuff. So shout out to all the DIY magazines out there.
I dig it, man.
Yeah, man.
I support that, and I'm down with whatever you need for us to help you with on that too.
Oh yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate that. But
Be happy to help you promote and get it out there still.
hell yeah, man. I appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna wrap it up here at the Canceled Cat Show. We got Shiloh. Be sure to check it out. Be sure to check out the Dispicables on all social media platforms and that YouTube skis, Spotify skis, you name it skis. And February 8th at Luchador Punk Fest, 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. 15 buckaroonies, all ages till 10. And we'll see you there.
And up the fucking pinche
Up
punks.
the fucking punks. Yeah.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Yeah, my skin tells you about where I've been, and the colors in my hair make you stop and stare. The rebels in my heart, which you will never take apart. The rebel I become was my destiny from the start. From the streets of the ghettos, we are the pinche punks. From the dark and alley shadows, the pinche punks. Ink in my skin tells you about where I've been, and the colors in my hair make you stop and stare. The rebels in my heart, which you will never take apart. The rebel I become was my destiny from the start. From the streets of the ghettos, we are the pinche punks. From the dark and alley shadows, the pinche punks. Stop and stare. The rebels in my heart, which you will never take apart. The rebel I become was my destiny from the start. From the streets of the